For years and years, I've been saying that Battlefield 4 has really good weapon customization. Since Battlefield 1 came out though in 2016, I personally think the weapon customization has taken a downturn in the franchise, whilst other games like Call of Duty have really capitalised on that area. For sure, BF1 had some very nice weapon skins, and Battlefield 5 even built on that, trying to bring in some really quite ridiculous player cosmetics and a lot of choices. However, a mixture of bad taste and a hefty price tag put me off those entirely. That being said, it was a move in the right direction, I think, in terms of more customization, but we lost out on some of the really integral parts of the loadout system and customizing a weapon that we saw in BF4. Going back to play some of the older games after a quick session on BF5 really does highlight the difference between the two and how much we've lost over the past 5 years or so. Whether you realise it or not, having progression in a game is a major incentive to keep playing. You level up, you aim to unlock equipment, you try to complete ribbons, collect dog tags, complete achievements and all the rest of it. All of this is incredibly popular, that's why they have it on Xbox and PS4, and you have achievements on Steam and Origin that you try and unlock. Combine that with an engaging experience and it leads to a great game. Battlefield 4 had this nailed down in my opinion. You'd log in, pick up your weapon and loadout, and then either try to unlock different attachments for it through the battle pack system and aim to hit certain stats in the game, or simply you could just play for fun and unlock things on the way. Let's take a look at the loadout sections from Battlefield 4. Bear in mind that this is on PC and therefore we've got Battlelog and the in-game loadout screen as two separate things, although most of it is pretty much the same. So it's fairly straightforward on Battlelog. You just have a screen in front of you with all of these different tabs. You can check out every single weapon. You can check out the stats of weapons, the service stars. The same goes for all the vehicles. You can see how many kills I've got on this account with different things. The reports are a little bit buggy on Battlelog. They don't always show, but that's the same in most Battlefield games, unfortunately. And then you've got all your stats and your details. So in depth. There's so much there. And for some people that might not matter, but for people like me who enjoy progression and think it's important, it's great to have that in one centralized location. Even the battle packs you see there, I've got one for the F2000, you unlock it and you can see on the bottom the accessories that you're unlocking and so on. You can then jump into the loadout screen and from Battlelog access absolutely everything. You've got all your assignments that you can choose from and then work out what you want to complete, whether it's the campaign or the single player. The same for the awards. You can even track these awards, which is really, really cool. Taking a quick look at the loadout system, and this could be on Battlelog or in-game, it's really, really clever how they've done this. I am running the better Battlelog plugin, but it doesn't really change too much at all, to be honest, with Battlelog when it comes to the loadouts. You don't have to click a whole lot to change things, then you don't have to go through separate menus, which is something we really struggled with in Battlefield 5. You had to click on something and then in order to change the attachment go into another screen and another screen and another screen, and it got really tiring after a while. In Battlefield 4, as you can see here, you can just flick through and choose what you want. All the weapons are there for the class. You can see if you've unlocked them, you can see the stats for each weapon, and although it could be a little more clear, I think, the stats and how they change in Battlefield, I think all the info is there for you. You've then got, say for example, now the sights. You can see what they do to your weapon, what they look like. They've all got a little description. The accessories, barrel, under barrel, even the camouflage for your weapon is quite extensive on BF4. Simple, but you can have a lot of variety and choice. This makes me think about Call of Duty and Escape from Tarkov, two games that have really excelled, I think, in the loadout screen. I've got some screenshots in the background of both of these. Tarkov is a bit of a mess, I think. It's similar to Arma, really, and once you get used to it, it's fine, but the first time you look at it, it's a bit daunting. Battlefield will never really go down that route, in my opinion. It's a bit more, I don't want to say casual, but easy to get into. You know, you sit down on the sofa, pick up the controller, you can play some Battlefield. You don't really want to be looking at that whole screen. It really puts off new players, in my opinion. Something a little more straightforward and simple like this on BF4 is perfect. In-game, it's pretty much the same, although you get the nice backdrop. Whether you're accessing it from the customization menu or from the top bar there. Right now we're in the test range, as you can see. You can just alter things, take a look at your soldiers, spin him around, full view of everything. It's really, really good. And For something that came out in 2013, I think this game was far ahead of its time in terms of the customization menu. It's certainly built on what we had in Battlefield 3 as well, if you remember back to that game, which was good, but not quite on the same level. So moving on to Battlefield 1, this is where things started to go downhill in my opinion. Still not bad, no Battlelog now, it's all in the same application. Click on Customize Soldier and you've got all of your weapons and loadouts and stuff to look through. You can't rotate your soldier, but to be honest, you can't fault the uniforms in Battlefield 1. They look really, really good. Obviously a lot of repetition as you can't switch them up, but it just looks like it should. You know, it looks like World War One. You can pick the weapons, you can see what you've unlocked, you can then see the information and stats on the right side. Again, great to have that in the game, especially the damage drop off. It gives you a nice indication of what's happening with the weapon, whether it's close range, long range and such. You then have all of your magnification, barrel, visuals. All of that stuff is really, really cool. I think obviously with it being World War One, it's limited, and maybe there could be a bit more of an interesting way to change the way the weapon looks with the variant system. There's no need to have those variants. Maybe that's something you could do yourself to optimize your weapon. But yeah, it's fine. I can't really fault it, to be honest. The game could have done with a few more weapons, I think, on release, but overall, it was really good. You also get these nice little videos on the right-hand side when you're looking at gadgets. Great for new players to work out exactly what the weapon and gadget is for. For the more experienced players, we already know this, but remember, not everyone has played hundreds of hours of Battlefield. They might just be playing it for the first time. In-game, it's more of the same. The big thing, though, that really lets Battlefield 1 down is the vehicle customization. You can only do it, I seem to remember, if you have the vehicle selected on the screen. It's very difficult to do so otherwise. Maybe they changed this, but I remember when it came out, you certainly couldn't. Very annoying because you'd always spawn in a vehicle and then never be able to customize it unless you came out of the game and then change it and go back in. Not the best, but still not too bad. I think that we were spoiled a bit with BF4. BF1 was okay. Now on to something that was just a disaster in my opinion, Battlefield 5's menu system. Just look how many clicks I have. First of all, it's called Your Company, which is confusing in itself. It should just be the loadout screen. You've then got at the top soldiers, vehicles, airplanes. They're not in the same category, but that's fine. Assault, medic, support, recon, fine. I'm always having things unlocked, so I've always got these flashing little icons all the time, no matter what I do. And then you drop in. You get to see your soldier on the right hand side. You have the different factions at the top. Remember, there was a point where you had to change every single faction for every single class instead of being able to do it all at once. They did update that, but that again just really sucked the fun out of putting together a loadout. The information is there again. We're missing a couple of things, and the specialization screen is another click in order to go into there. So there's some depth to it, but it's just a bit time consuming in my opinion. Not great. I do like the fact you can see which weapons you've leveled up on the side. That is pretty cool. You don't get full access to the weapon either to rotate it and look at it. Only a bit of a glimpse, which isn't perfect. And there is quite limited customization. Some good appearance changes you can make in terms of the skins, but putting scopes and extended magazines and things like that is limited to the specialization section. So not perfect. Again, limited by World War II, but I think they could have done a little bit more. Visually, I think it looks good. Not a massive fan of the way that you navigate the menus. I think that there's a bit of work to be done. It added some things that we had in Battlefield 1, but overall it still feels like it's miles away from the fluidity of the Battlefield 4 loadout menu. So what does this mean for Battlefield 6? Well, personally, I think that DICE have to take a look at the success of Call of Duty, and they have to look at what these content creators have been doing. They will create a video looking at a certain loadout. They used to do it back in Battlefield 4 as well. Level Cap used to make tons of videos looking at these things, getting hundreds of thousands of views. People would try and copy it, do it themselves. It's just a really good way of getting free content and replayability out of your game. Show us a weapon on the screen where you can alter every single part of it, and if you want a new scope, even if it's just a different color or a different zoom or whatever it is, you then have to go into the game to unlock it and play it. Everything's tracked. You can check out what you want as you upgrade your weapon. It just works in such a more fluid way, in my opinion. The only sticking point is microtransactions. If they go down that route, no doubt it will be attached to the cosmetic side of the game. It might be that certain scopes or certain attachments, or whether it's just a visual thing, will be locked behind a loot crate maybe, although they probably won't use that term. Maybe like a battle pack or something is probably a word they should go back to using because people are more familiar with it. And maybe you unlock those and then you have an RNG chance of getting the thing. That could work. Potentially there could be shortcuts or even having to just pay money to access this stuff. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I've mentioned this before about the loadout system, but I thought I'd just get into it a little bit more. Basically, it's having a design that allows you to access everything on the same screen, but also just having the options and the depth in the attachment system that was clearly missing in Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.